Okay, so our world is getting smarter every single day. I mean, our homes, our cities, everything is getting connected. It's incredible, right? But with all this amazing convenience comes a whole new set of hidden dangers we really need to talk about. So let's just dive right in. Just take a second. Think about it. Your TV, those smart speakers, maybe your thermostat, the doorbell, even your light bulbs. Seriously, how many gadgets are listening, watching, and collecting data in your home at this very moment? I bet the number is probably a little higher than you think. And look, you are definitely not alone in this. Research from Tech UK found that way back in 2021, a whopping 58% of people owned a smart TV. And that's just the TV. The number of smart speakers, thermostats, you name it, it's just skyrocketed. These things have quietly become totally normal parts of our lives.
So what's the actual problem here? Well, you have to think of every one of those convenient devices as a potential doorway into your home, right? And that introduces all kinds of vulnerabilities we've just never had to deal with before.
So, when things do go wrong, what does that actually look like? Well, a big review of a bunch of research breaks down the most common digital harms. And as you can see, privacy intrusion and hacking are right there at the top at 29% and 27%. But what do those words even mean in the real world? Let's start with privacy intrusion. Imagine your smart water meter. I mean, it seems totally harmless, doesn't it? But researchers found that the data it collects can paint an incredibly detailed picture of your life. When you wake up, when you shower, when you leave for work, and maybe most importantly, when your house is completely empty. It's like a little diary of your daily routine. And then, of course, there's just straight up hacking. We've all heard the horror stories, and let me tell you, they are very, very real. In one really well-known case, hackers got access to home security cameras and baby monitors from hundreds of different homes. And those private video feeds from inside people's living rooms and nurseries, they were just published online for anyone to watch. And this can get even more personal and, honestly, a lot more dangerous. Researchers have documented these absolutely chilling cases of domestic abuse where smart home devices were literally turned into weapons. An abuser could remotely control their ex-partner's life by messing with the thermostat, flicking lights on and off, or just blasting the TV, all to intimidate and keep that control. So, you're probably asking, okay, how do attackers actually pull this off? How do they get in? Well, researchers have kind of boiled it down to three core ways they can compromise your smart devices. First, you've got confidentiality breaches. This is when your sensitive information gets out without you saying it's okay. And we're not just talking about passwords. It can be something as simple as your smart meter's energy data getting leaked, which could basically tell a burglar the perfect time to pay you a visit. Next up is what's called an authentication threat. Now, this one's a little different. Here, an attacker isn't just stealing your information, they're faking it, or they're changing it. For example, imagine somebody tampering with a building's fire control system to trigger a fake alarm and unlock every single door. You can just imagine the chaos and the massive security breach that would create. And finally, there's unauthorized access. This is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's when an attacker gets direct control over your devices. They could turn on your webcam from halfway across the world, listen in through your smart speaker, or even mess with appliances like a smart oven, creating a real physical danger right inside your home. You know, it's also really helpful to think about these harms in two different buckets. You've got your cyber-dependent harms, things like malware, which can only exist in the digital world. But then you have cyber-enabled harms. These are old-school crimes, like stalking or fraud, that are just supercharged and given a much wider reach by the internet and all our connected gadgets. Okay, so we've looked at the risks inside one home. Now let's zoom all the way out. What happens when you apply these same exact vulnerabilities to an entire city? Well, the stakes get a whole lot higher. And make no mistake, smart cities are already here. We're connecting everything: traffic lights, parking meters, the electrical grid, public services, you name it. Our city lives are becoming completely interconnected and honestly, totally dependent on these technologies. At this kind of scale, the threats just evolve into something else entirely. We're not just talking about a hacked thermostat anymore. We are talking about the potential for hacked driverless cars, a compromised power grid, or manipulated public safety systems that could put thousands, maybe even millions of lives at risk. Now, I know this all sounds pretty dire, but it's really not hopeless. There are a lot of experts and researchers who are actively working on solutions. So, what does the path to a safer, smarter future actually look like? When researchers analyzed all the proposed solutions out there,
they found a really striking imbalance. A massive 87% of the solutions focus on purely technical fixes. Meanwhile, things like educating users or changing policy, they get way less attention. And look, these technical solutions are incredibly important. I mean, they involve things like using artificial intelligence to automatically spot attacks as they're happening, or developing way stronger encryption to make it much, much harder for criminals to get to our data in the first place. But here's the thing. Technology alone just isn't enough. Experts argue that we need to look at the whole picture. That means better education, so that we, the users, can spot risks. It means stronger regulations to hold companies accountable for security, and it means creating real support systems for people who do become victims of these digital harms.
And that brings us to the final question, really a question for you. We are building this world of incredible convenience and automation, but as we've just seen, it's definitely not without its risks. So it is worth asking yourself, in your own life, with your own smart world, what is all this convenience truly costing you?